Let's take a look at how much it costs to live out of my Toyota Prius, starting with the purchasing of the car. I bought my 2015 Toyota Prius for $13,000 in early 2021 at 60,000 miles. How about gas, parking, laundry, and the big one, food? Before going over the monthly costs of living in my Prius, I wanted to give a rundown of all the upgrades I've added to it since I purchased the car. It should be clarified, however, that all these upgrades, small and large, have been purchased slowly over the years. Remember that I didn't buy it all at once. Also, something that tends to get overlooked is that you don't need anything more than just a sleeping bag and a pillow to get started. You definitely don't need a crazy setup like mine. Having just a stock Prius and a little adventure in your heart is all that's needed. Starting from cheapest and working our way up to the most expensive, here is the list. A cargo net for $12, curtains for $15, steering wheel tray for $16, pepper spray for $16, camping lights, Rebel gear for $22, projector screen and alterations for $27. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how I watch movies on a projector screen inside of my Prius. A signal blocking box for my keys at night so no one can open the doors, $29. The Motor Shield Pro tint, $87. Window bug screens for $95. Habitent for $110. The hitch for $123. Tint's installation fee for $140. Rear HD springs for $247. The inverter for $288. A Roam Adventure box for $300. The lift kit for $304. My awning for $309. A Mega Mat Duo mattress with foam and air for $325. A rechargeable air pump for the mattress for $50. A Husky box for $325, swing away hitch frame for $409, and a roof rack for $740. The grand total, $3,989, so almost $4,000 in additions. Because the car is stealthy and small, I park on side streets and residential areas, blending in and essentially parking for free. If I were traveling cross-country, I may sleep at campsites or national parks where there would be a fee. But I'm not going to talk about that because I'm currently staying in my city and this fee doesn't apply to me. Because I work as a dog sitter where clients' expectations are that I stay and live out of their home, I usually do laundry while staying there. Most months, it works out where I cycle clean clothes out from my storage unit, and when I need to do laundry, I'll just do it at a client's house. Otherwise, $10 to $15 in quarters will reset my wardrobe at a local laundromat. Personal hygiene when living in your car is a high priority, because living in a small space can quickly become unmanageable if you aren't on top of it. That means I take showers daily. This I do at a climbing gym for $95 a month. But if I wasn't a rock climber, then those $10 a month Planet Fitness memberships would save a ton of money. Of course, I also cycle through buying toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, and haircuts each month, which costs somewhere around $80. This may seem like a nonsense category, but again, with this lifestyle, things can get gross quickly. Unless, of course, you take routine care of yourself and your car. The local car wash near me has free vacuums, which I use to clean out my car entirely, probably once a week. And for the exterior of my car, I take it to a self-service car wash once a month for about $15. Gas is a category I need to explain a little bit more in depth for you to understand. Gas per night depends entirely on the temperature. It's not a linear scale, but typically in the winter, when the weather is 25 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit, I burn around a quarter gallon of gas in keeping the interior cabin at 68 degrees throughout the night while sleeping. If the temperature drops considerably from there, say anywhere from 0 degrees to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, the car will burn a half a gallon of gas or more per night to keep the car warm. Now, while the numbers are important, it's also important to note that the results vary slightly from Prius to Prius depending on year, miles driven, and how well the car is maintained. What's also important noting is that I don't use the AC if the temperature outside is above 38-ish degrees Fahrenheit. So most of the spring or summer and fall, I simply snuggle up into my sleeping bag and keep the car off the entire night. In the winter, of course, I use the heat almost every night as the temperature tends to dip well below 40 degrees throughout the season after sundown. Here's the interesting part. My job currently is dog sitting, a job where people pay me to sleep in their homes and provide care for their animals, sometimes for weeks at a time, meaning some months I only sleep a few nights in the Prius, if any at all. But let's assume for a second that I wasn't booked for an entire month, and I slept and lived out of my Prius every single night. What does that look like? The amount of gas used would fluctuate depending on the temperature, but for argument's sake, let's say that for half the month the car used a quarter gallon of gas, and the other 15 to 16 days my car used a half a gallon of gas. Well, at current gas prices, which are very high, at the time of making this video, the average is around $3.15 a gallon. That would mean half the month I'm using 79 cents worth of gas a night, while the other half of the month I'm using about $1.58 worth of gas a night. Add that up and the total is somewhere around $37.13 a month. But let's be conservative and round it up to $40. Keep in mind, this is a month of 31 days sleeping in my car every night and using the heat every single night at these high gas prices and low temperatures. Firstly, there are nights even in the dead of winter where it's not necessary to use heat, and of course, I end up sleeping in clients' homes a lot anyhow. But if we are doing this to see what the cost looks like on a month with bad weather conditions, bad gas prices, and no bookings from clients, the total is about $40. Compared to rent here in my city, that's not too bad considering. Something else to remember is that I don't use the AC at night all year. So hypothetically, if I used heat every night of the winter, November, December, January, February, and March, the total of $37.13 a month for all those months is $185.65. The rest of the year, I typically would sleep with blankets and a small chargeable fan aimed at me, cutting that cost altogether. So when we spread the total of $185.65 across all 12 months, but just to really include worst case scenarios, let's round that up to $200, the total for sleeping in the car and using the AC is $16.67 a month for a whole year. I drive around Denver and the surrounding area a lot for meetups, events, exploration, and sometimes side hustles like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. With all the attachments currently on my car, I get around 45 to 47 miles per gallon, and my average monthly gas bill is somewhere around $150 monthly, which includes personal and business use of the car, as well as the AC for sleeping at night. This is my most expensive category because I tend to eat out a lot. I've recently started making myself cheap meals that are quick and easy to make, which you can see in my previous video about Prius living, and that saved me a lot of money, but even still, I probably eat out 1 out of every 4 meals throughout a month. In a given month of eating out, I probably spend anywhere between $175 to $225, which is more than I'd like to admit. Groceries, on the other hand, are probably another $300 monthly. So to recap, $525 for food, $200 for gas, $80 for hygiene, $15 for cleaning the car, $95 for showers and the gym, and another $15 for laundry, equals about to $930 per month to live out of the car. Again, this number changes month to month and may be higher or lower depending on if I'm booked for a sit or not. If you're interested in seeing how I watch movies on a projector screen inside my car, click this video here, and if you aren't already, click subscribe.